Imagine a colossal force, the fifth largest army in the world, equipped with millions of soldiers, advanced weaponry, and a reputation that instills fear and respect. This was Iraq's military might, a superpower in its own right, poised to dominate any battlefield. But within a mere 6 weeks, the seemingly invincible force faced a catastrophic downfall that shocked the world and changed the course of history. In the early 1990s, the world watched in disbelief as Operation Desert Storm unfolded. A coalition of forces led by the technological might and strategic genius of the United States launched one of the most sophisticated and overwhelming military campaigns ever seen. It was not just a battle. It was a demonstration of the future of warfare, with precision-guided munitions, stealth technology, and a level of coordination that left no room for the Iraqi army to breathe. But how did it come to this? How could such a formidable force crumble so quickly and so completely? Was it the sheer technological superiority of the coalition, the strategic missteps of Iraqi leadership, or a combination of complex factors that led to this rapid collapse? And what were the consequences, not just for Iraq, but for the entire geopolitical landscape? Join us as we peel back the layers of this astonishing military and political drama. We'll explore the intricate details of the strategies employed, the weapons unleashed, and the human stories of those who were there. We'll examine the critical decisions, the pivotal moments, and the stark realities of modern warfare. Prepare for a journey through the fog of war and into the heart of one of the most impressive military events of the 20th century. This is not just the story of the defeat of an army. It's a story of technology, tactics, and the terrible power of modern conflict. Welcome to the Geolin channel. Before the battle, setting the stage for war. Before we delve into the astonishing 6 weeks that reshaped a nation and the world, let's rewind the clock to understand the historical tapestry that set the stage for this monumental event. The story of the Iraqi army's downfall is not just a tale of military strategy, it's a saga woven through decades of conflict, ambition, and geopolitical chess. In the aftermath of World War I and the collapse of the Ottoman Empire, the modern state of Iraq was carved out by colonial powers, setting the stage for a century marked by turmoil, rebellion, and the quest for identity. Fast forward to the late 20th century, Iraq, under the leadership of Saddam Hussein, emerged as a regional power with ambitious goals and a formidable military force. The Iran-Iraq War of the 1980s was a crucible that hardened the Iraqi military, turning it into one of the largest and most battle-tested forces in the world. But this prolonged conflict left the country drained both economically and militarily, setting the stage for desperate measures. As the 1990s dawned, Iraq found itself cornered, crippled by debt, and desperate to assert its dominance. The rich oil fields of Kuwait became an irresistible target, seen as the solution to Iraq's economic woes. But this decision would prove to be a catastrophic miscalculation, drawing the ire of a coalition of nations and setting the stage for a conflict that would be watched by the entire world. As tensions escalated, the stage was set for an unprecedented display of military might and strategic prowess. The world was about to witness the rise and fall of the fifth largest army in a conflict that would redefine modern warfare. Goliath's strength, the power of the fifth largest army. As we set the stage with the historical backdrop, let's shift our focus to the formidable force at the heart of our story, the Iraqi army. Known as the fifth largest military power in the world, its might and capabilities were a source of both pride and fear. The Iraqi military was a behemoth boasting over 1 million soldiers. These were men trained in the art of war, hardened by years of conflict with Iran, and prepared to defend their nation against any threat. The army was not just large in numbers. It was diverse, comprising several highly specialized units, including Republican Guards, infantry, armored divisions, and artillery. Beyond the sheer size of its forces, Iraq's military strength was bolstered by an arsenal of advanced weaponry. Tanks like the T-72s roared across the deserts, while MiG and Mirage fighters patrolled the skies. The military also boasted a range of ballistic missiles, chemical weapons, and other arms supplied by superpowers who once saw Iraq as a strategic ally. But the Iraqi army's might wasn't just in its weapons and numbers. It was in its reputation, a reputation built on decades of military engagements. The world had witnessed its tenacity and ferocity during the long and brutal Iran-Iraq War, where it had stood its ground against overwhelming odds. However, beneath this veneer of invincibility, there were cracks. The prolonged war with Iran had drained the army's resources and morale. International sanctions had choked off vital supplies, and the leadership's strategic decisions were increasingly questioned. Yet on the eve of what would become Operation Desert Storm, the Iraqi military still presented a formidable front, one that many believe would require a long and bloody conflict to dismantle. As we ponder the might of the Iraqi army, it's crucial to understand that this was not just a collection of men and machines. It was a symbol of national pride and power, a force that many believed could stand against any adversary. The upcoming conflict would not just be a test of military strength, It would be a challenge to the very identity and pride of a nation. First sparks, the outbreak of war. As the dawn of conflict approached, the world held its breath. The stage was set for a confrontation that would draw lines not just in the sand, but in the annals of military history. This was the moment when the might of the Iraqi army would be truly tested against a coalition force unlike any seen before. The initial spark was Iraq's invasion of Kuwait, a move driven by desperation and ambition. Kuwait's oil wealth was the prize, but the act brought immediate international condemnation and a demand for withdrawal. When diplomacy faltered, the coalition forces, led by the United States, prepared for action. It was a gathering of nations, an assembly of military power aimed at liberating Kuwait and neutralizing the perceived threat of Iraq. As the deadline for withdrawal passed, the air was thick with anticipation. The world watched as the first shots were fired, marking the beginning of Operation Desert Storm. The coalition's strategy was clear: to dominate the skies and cripple Iraq's ability to respond. An aerial campaign of unprecedented scale and precision was unleashed. The skies over Iraq and Kuwait lit up with the fire of missiles and bombs, targeting key military and communication installations. The Iraqi army, once the predator, now found itself the prey. Its air force, unable to contest the coalition's complete air superiority, was decimated or fled to neighboring countries. The ground forces, though vast and well-equipped, were paralyzed by the relentless aerial onslaught. A strategy of shock and awe was not just about physical destruction. It was about shattering the morale and will of the Iraqi military. Yet despite the overwhelming power facing them, there were moments of resistance and courage. Iraqi soldiers, some fiercely loyal and others just caught in the maelstrom, held their ground, fought back, and tried to adapt to the rapidly unfolding chaos. But as the days passed, the scale of the coalition's might became increasingly apparent. The Iraqi army was being systematically dismantled piece by piece, with precision and relentless pressure. As the conflict began, it was more than just a military operation. It was a demonstration of a new era of warfare. Technology, strategy, and international alliances were all being tested in the deserts of the Middle East. For the Iraqi army, the question was no longer about victory but survival. The conflict that began with a swift invasion would soon turn into a desperate struggle in the face of an overwhelming adversary. The tides turned, decisive moments in battle. In every conflict, there are moments that define the fate of those involved. For the Iraqi army, a series of turning points rapidly transformed their position from defiance to desperation. As we delve into these critical junctures, we uncover the decisions and events that accelerated the downfall of what was once the world's fifth largest army. The first major turning point came with the coalition's relentless air campaign. Day and night, the skies echoed with the roar of jets and the thunder of bombs. The Iraqi air defenses, once thought formidable, were systematically dismantled. Command and control centers, communication lines, and airfields were reduced to rubble. The backbone of the Iraqi military was not just broken, it was obliterated, leaving ground forces isolated and confused. Amidst the chaos, strategic missteps by the Iraqi leadership hastened their demise. Instead of withdrawing to defensible positions and conserving their forces for a prolonged conflict, they remained entrenched in Kuwait, vulnerable to the coalition's superior firepower. The leadership's failure to adapt to the rapidly changing battlefield, coupled with their underestimation of the coalition's capabilities, proved disastrous. As the ground campaign commenced, the coalition forces unleashed a blitzkrieg that would redefine modern warfare. Utilizing cutting-edge technology and sophisticated tactics, they encircled and overwhelmed the Iraqi forces. The left-hook maneuver, bypassing the heavily fortified Iraqi defenses along the Kuwaiti border and attacking from the west, was a masterstroke of military strategy. It caught the Iraqi army off guard, cutting off their retreat and sealing their fate. But perhaps the most significant turning point was not just in the physical battles. It was in the psychological warfare that eroded the will of the Iraqi soldiers. The relentless bombardment, the sight of their comrades falling, and the sense of inevitability as the coalition forces advanced all contributed to a collapse in morale. Desertions increased, and the once disciplined army began to crumble from within. As we reflect on these turning points, it becomes clear that the downfall of the Iraqi army was not just due to the overwhelming might of the coalition forces. It was also a consequence of critical miscalculations, a failure to adapt, and the shattering of morale. The turning points in this conflict were not just moments in time. They were the culmination of a series of decisions and events that led to one of the most rapid military collapses in history. Rapid ruin, the army's sudden downfall. As the conflict reached its zenith, the once mighty Iraqi army found itself on the brink of total collapse. The turning points had passed, and what remained was a rapid and irreversible fall. This final chapter in the army's story is one of loss, surrender, and devastation, marking the end of a military power that had once dominated the region. The coalition's ground campaign was swift and devastating. Advanced tanks and armored vehicles pierced through the Iraqi defenses with ease, supported by precise airstrikes and artillery fire. The coalition forces, employing superior tactics and technology, moved faster and struck harder than anyone had anticipated. The Iraqi army, already reeling from the air campaign and psychological warfare, was rapidly overwhelmed. In a matter of days, the coalition forces reached their objectives. Towns and cities were liberated and Kuwait was freed from occupation. Iraqi soldiers, many of whom were conscripts with little will to fight, surrendered in droves. The images of these soldiers, weary and defeated, became symbols of the army's collapse. But the fall was not just a physical defeat, it was a moral one. The Iraqi army, which had once prided itself on its strength and resilience, was now seen as a defeated force, its equipment abandoned, its soldiers captured or in retreat. The psychological impact of this defeat would resonate far beyond the battlefield, affecting the nation's psyche and Saddam Hussein's grip on power. The aftermath of the fall was chaotic and tragic. Retreating Iraqi forces engaged in a scorched earth policy, setting fire to Kuwaiti oil wells and leaving behind a trail of environmental and economic devastation. The human cost of the conflict was immense, with countless soldiers and civilians dead or wounded, and the infrastructure of a nation left in ruins. As the dust settled, the world looked on in shock and relief. The conflict that had begun with an invasion ended with a comprehensive defeat of the Iraqi army. In just 6 weeks, the fifth largest army in the world had been dismantled, its capabilities destroyed, and its reputation shattered. The fall was complete, and the implications for Iraq, the region, and the world were profound and lasting. Why they fell. Unpacking the defeat. As the echoes of battle fade, we are left with a landscape of questions. How did the world's fifth largest army crumble so quickly? What can we learn from this swift and decisive conflict? In this analysis, we peel back the layers of strategy, leadership, and technology to understand the factors that led to the Iraqi army's rapid downfall. First, let's consider the coalition's strategy. Operation Desert Storm was not just a display of military might, it was a masterclass in modern warfare. The coalition leveraged superior technology, including precision-guided munitions and stealth aircraft, to devastating effect. Their strategy of air superiority, followed by a swift and overwhelming ground assault, was executed with precision and coordination. The Iraqi army, despite its size and equipment, was simply unprepared for this new era of warfare. However, the fall of the Iraqi army cannot be attributed to the coalition's strength alone. The leadership and decisions of the Iraqi military played a crucial role in their defeat. Saddam Hussein's gamble to invade Kuwait, his failure to anticipate the international response, and his refusal to withdraw before the coalition's offensive all contributed to the army's downfall. Moreover, the Iraqi military's tactics were outdated, their command and control were disrupted, and their morale was low, further exacerbating their vulnerability. But beyond tactics and leadership, there were other factors at play. The international community's united stance against Iraq's invasion, the economic sanctions that weakened the nation, and the psychological impact of the coalition's overwhelming presence all played a role in the conflict's outcome. The Iraqi army was not just fighting a military battle, it was facing a multifaceted onslaught that left little room for resistance. As we analyze this conflict, it's also important to consider the broader implications. The Gulf War reshaped the geopolitical landscape of the Middle East, affected global oil markets, and influenced military strategies and doctrines worldwide. It demonstrated the power of technology in modern warfare and highlighted the importance of international alliances and coalitions. In conclusion, the fall of the Iraqi army was the result of a complex interplay of factors, including superior coalition strategy and technology, Iraqi leadership failures, and broader geopolitical dynamics. This conflict serves as a stark reminder of the brutal realities of war and the rapid pace of change in military capabilities. As we reflect on these lessons, we must remember the human cost of this conflict and strive to understand history, not just to recount it, but to learn from it. Reflections of War, Understanding the Past with Geoland. As we reach the end of our journey through one of the most rapid and significant military collapses in history, we reflect on the profound lessons and stark realities it presents. The fall of the Iraqi army was not just a moment in military history, it was a demonstration of the power of technology, strategy, and international cooperation. It reminds us of the ever-changing nature of warfare and the importance of understanding and adapting to these changes. The story we've explored today is a testament to the importance of seeking the truth, of understanding the complex tapestry of history, strategy, and human ambition. It's these truths that drive us to learn, to share, and to remember. And it's in this spirit of seeking and sharing truth that we introduce you to the Geoland channel. Geoland is more than just a YouTube channel. It's a community dedicated to uncovering and sharing the truths of our world. Focused on providing exclusive content, Geoland delves into the mysteries, the strategies, and the events that shape our planet. In a world where information is abundant yet truth can be elusive, Jiolan stands as a beacon for those seeking to understand the deeper narratives. The channel's commitment to anonymity is not just a feature, it's a statement. In a landscape cluttered with biases and personal agendas, Jiolan's anonymity allows it to focus solely on the content, on the truth. This approach ensures that the story's analyses and insights are what shine, free from the influence of personalities or fame. Every video, every share, and every subscriber contributes to this mission of truth-seeking. Your support helps Jiolan grow, improve, and continue providing the content that challenges, educates, and inspires. As a community, we are all part of this journey towards understanding and sharing the truths of our complex, fascinating world. In conclusion, the story of the Iraqi Army's downfall is more than a historical event. It's a reminder of the power of knowledge and the importance of seeking the truth. As Jiolan continues to explore and share these truths, we invite you to join us. Subscribe, share, and become part of a community that values understanding, insight, and the unrelenting pursuit of truth. Thank you for watching, and remember, every view, every share helps us grow and helps us all in our quest for truth and understanding. This is Jiolan, where the pursuit of truth is our mission and our passion.